Hey, welcome back to the Club Junkie Podcast. Hopefully you're having a great week. I know it's 4th of July week, and today is actually 4th of July when this goes live. Hopefully you're having a great 4th of July, having a safe one, and enjoying it with some friends and family, maybe even playing some golf. I'm actually playing golf this morning as well. You don't see it right now, but yeah, I'm on vacation all week, but still decided I needed to get you a podcast and need to talk about some gear. So before we get into today's episode, just want to let you know this episode is brought to you by Titleist. And when it comes to golf balls, we have a lot of choices. The good news is Pro V1, Pro V1X, and the Pro V1X Left Dash offer the ultimate performance choice and really cover any combination of flight, spin, and feel that you need. Titleist Pro V1 is the greatest combination of speed, spin, and feel in the game, and the best choice for most players. Pro V1 is exceptionally long with a mid-flight trajectory, maximum short game spin, and very soft feel on every shot. Pro V1X is perfect for golfers like myself who prioritize total performance but want higher flight and a firmer feel. The higher peak height you get from the Pro V1X can add distance and maximize stopping power into the green. The Pro V1X Left Dash is for players who want maxed out speed, high flight, and spin control. Left Dash is also engineered to be low spinning on full swing shots. Now, I'm a Pro V1X guy. Like I said, I like the high ball flight. It helps my game out. I hit a pretty flat ball. The added spin helps as well with certain shots. But hey, there's a Titleist golf ball that best fits your game, and you owe it to yourself to find out. Learn more at Titleist.com today. So I'm down here. I'm down here on vacation. I've been gone all week. I took off last week on Friday, so Saturday, Sunday, I've been here ever since. Got a couple rounds in already. Have a couple rounds on the books. Haven't played amazingly well. I really actually. I'm going to get into a full review of it later, but I have the Lab DF3 broomstick out. I literally just got it. I picked it up on Friday, came down, and I put it in play on Saturday morning or Sunday morning, and had never played it before. Had never played a broomstick before, anything like that, and just went out and played it. And I was a little surprised. It wasn't as kind of point and shoot as I thought it would be. Like I thought it would just be walk out, point and shoot, easy. It ended up being like you need a little practice with it. I was a little taken back by distance control. It's definitely different. The head feels so heavy. I thought short little motions were going to produce like a really big effect, and you're going to see a lot of distance. Short little strokes, we'll see a big distance gain, and it wasn't that way at all. It was much shorter in a sense than I thought. So I left everything short. I had like 40 putts. I wasn't necessarily aiming it poorly. It was just speed. I would either hit it really, too hard on short putts, or I'd hit it definitely too soft on a long putt. So lag putting was tough. I had like 40 putts in the round. I hit it decent other than that, but just way too many of those shots, of those putts. But I think a lot of it is just practice. I'm not knocking the putter or saying it's not good. It's just very different than anything else I've ever tried. And I think I just need some work with it. And I think getting that feel down of how far you need to take back the putter to get it to go the distance you want, that's just something that's got to come. But overall, I've been hitting the irons really well. The irons have been solid. I brought 2 full bags, I think four total drivers, a couple extra driver shafts. So brought a bunch of stuff down here with me in order to play a bunch of golf. So going to kind of mix and match stuff and see what kind of works. I'm starting to get kind of a gamer bag, I think, kind of dialed in, which is interesting. It's taken me, I feel like, a little bit longer this year than last year. I feel like last year I kind of found the T150s, I found the TSR2 like really quickly, and those kind of just fell into the bag. And this year, I mean, those things are still in the mix, even though the TSR2 will be out. It'll be replaced by a GT. But I feel like, iron wise, whatever, I'm kind of hitting a lot of things equal. So it's been interesting. And I think right now, kind of 2 contenders to knock those out are probably the PXG 0317Ts and these Adele SMS and SMS Pros. Those are the 2 iron sets I brought down. And the PXGs, I mean, they're great because it comes down to they've got a little bit of speed. They're hollow body, a little added speed, a little bit of forgiveness there on mishits. When you do hit it heel or toe or whatever, it still carries some ball speed. And they launch fairly high. They're pretty easy to hit. And of course they feel good being hollow body and filled with PXG's material, and then the SMS Pros, like I kind of got those to do just to kind of mess with and review. And honestly, now that I've hit them a little bit more on the course, they're actually really solid. I've been hitting them really well. The whole weight system, the SMS weight system, where you're not moving it for ball flight bias, you're more moving it for feel of the club head through the swing, have worked out really well. I've got those things pretty much dialed in. I'm kind of dialing in the 4-iron and pitching wedge. The 4-iron's a little iffy, and then the pitching wedge, I think I've moved back to the center position. It's been kind of the best because it's a pretty compact club. I think everything else, kind of pushing everything to the heel, kind of in the draw position, has felt the best, which is interesting because you guys know I'm somebody who really draws the ball hard, tends to play a big hook, things like that. So interesting enough, that has been kind of what I've been messing with. But those two irons have really set out. I know people always ask, what about the Ping blueprints? I really love those. They just, out of kind of those three sets between the blueprints, the PXG 0317Ts, and the SMS, they're kind of the least forgiving out of those. And the SMS is a little bit of a, it's a combo set. So you've got the 456 in the standard SMS, which is a hollow body iron, thin face, a little bit bigger, a little bit more speed, a little higher launch, and then the SMS Pros in the 7 through pitch. And those things are just, they feel amazing. They look great. They've got that awesome milled sole on them. It offers some really good turf interaction. So everything about those have been working out really well. And the blueprints just, I feel like I get away with the miss just a little bit better with the SMS Pro even in those short irons. So, the blueprints are still there. They actually just got reshafted, so I'm going to take those out. I just swapped out of the Vega Mizar Tours. I pulled the UST Dart V 105s. They are in the pings right now. They didn't come down here with me this week, but they are there. They're going to go in the bag very, very soon. And we'll get those out there to try them because I haven't hit them since I reshafted them. But right now, I think the PXGs and the Adels are kind of the front runners right now for the game, for the gamer bag to take on the kind of the T150. The only, I give the PXG the slight edge only because if you put the SMS Pro against the T150, the T150's a little bit longer. Forgiveness-wise, they may be just a touch more forgiving, but I think the PXGs, they look more compact. They look smaller than the T150, but they play bigger. They have some speed. They have that forgiveness. So right now, those are probably the front runners at the moment, and those at the moment have the LA Golf A-Series 105s in them. And the A-Series 105 is a shaft that I'm really starting to like. It's lively. It's not quite as demanding as I think the L-Series is. The L-Series is a little more kind of geared towards a higher swing speed player, and I don't quite have that, especially in the irons. So having that there, but I think the PXGs right now are probably in second place, and then the Adels are probably right after that, and then the T150. It's going to be interesting to see, and I've got to figure it out by the beginning of August because that's when I go down for our kind of guys trip and need to have things kind of settled out by then. But we'll get it figured out and have that rolling. For driver, it's really interesting. I got fit for the GT. So I'm really excited to get that on the course. Out on the range, it worked really well. But out on the course so far, I think it's kind of a little bit of a battle between the TaylorMade QI10, the standard model, and the Callaway Paradigm AI Smoke Triple Diamond Max. So the Triple Diamond Max has been really good. It definitely launches higher than I thought it would. It's got a higher ball flight, especially when I compare it to the Triple Diamond. But it's forgiving. It's pretty easy to hit. I paired it up with the Diamana, the new Diamana WB, and that has been a really, really good combo. And then you look at the QI10, and the QI10 is kind of in the same boat a little bit. It's very forgiving. It launches and spins a little bit more than I thought it would. I thought it was going to be a little bit lower than it is. But again, that works out fairly well for me because I'm not a high ball hitter. But those two are kind of at the moment the two that are kind of fighting for the top spot. And then we'll see what the GT does. The GT, from hitting on the range and getting fit and all that, I think it worked out really well. I think it's going to be a really solid option. But we're going to have to wait and see what it does on the course. Because for me, that's like the telltale is when you're on the course and you only have one ball and you've got to hit it, you got to hit it through the chute, that we have at Bella Vista and things like that. Can you do it? Can you pull that shot off? And can you do it with confidence? And with my TSR2, I could. We'll see with the new GT if that carries over. Hopefully it will. But those two are kind of going forward. Right now, I'd probably give the slight edge to the AI Smoke Triple Diamond Max. Right now, that is probably the leader in the clubhouse at the moment. I'm going to retire the TSR2. I'm going to call it done. But that Paradigm AI Smoke, I think, has been really, really good. and it's that good mix of just, being a little bit lower spin, still being forgiving, and I think it's kind of what a QI10 dot head would be. If I got my hands on a dot head, which I know they just released an 8 degree, but I unfortunately need a 10.5. I can't play an 8 degree driver. It doesn't, even with the 2 degrees up, it gets it a 10, but when I hit it left, there's no way that is going to work out. So I would love to try a 10, like a 10.0 or a 10.5 dot head. That'd be awesome. But I think the QI10 is underrated. I think it works really well, at least for me. I've always hit TaylorMade woods well. I think it's definitely a little more forgiving than Stealth 2 and Stealth. When you miss it, I think it carries better ball speed. I think it stays on line better. And overall, it's worked out a lot better for me. Now that one, shaft-wise, I've kind of gone between a couple different shafts. Between it, I do have to say that I like the combination of putting Ventus TR Red in there. I'm really excited to try the new Ventus Red when it comes out. And then also, I've messed around with a couple other shafts, but if I was to throw it in there and just absolutely game it, it would probably be, it might be the whiteboard, to be honest. I've hit that really well, but probably the UST Link, the Link Blue or M40X Blue TSPX would probably be the shaft I put in there. Really consistent, good feel to it. A little stouter than, say, a Ventus Blue. It plays probably closer to the TR Blue, but a really good option there. And that would probably be, those are the two drivers, again, leaning more towards the AI Smoke Triple Diamond Max. That's what I'm going to play this morning. I'm going to play that driver, and I'm recording this on like Wednesday night, so I'm going to play it tomorrow morning or this morning when I play. So that's there. Fairway woods, it's kind of tough. I think right now the leader at the moment is the standard QI10. I know I really like the Tour. I'm gonna not lie to you. The Tour influence, the influence of the Tour players playing the standard QI10. I put a UST Link M40X Blue, the 70-gram version in that, and I've been hitting it really well off the tee, off the deck. I've hit some really, really good shots with it, and I think I may like it a little bit more than the Tour. We'll have to see how that goes, but the QI10 has been really good. It's just a little more forgiving than the QI10 Tour. Now, the Tour, I feel like I can actually launch a little bit higher. I can slide that weight back further and actually get it to launch higher, but the standard model, just on those toe and heel miss hits, seems to be a little bit more stable, and it's pretty straight. Off the tee, it's an absolute rocket. Maybe not as hot as the titanium face on the Tour, but it's still pretty darn hot, and it goes a good ways. I've hit some really long shots out off the tee with that thing, and honestly, 90% of its life, that's how it lives. It lives as a tee type club to play a certain distance, keep me out of trouble, all that. So that will be the 3-wood there. We'll probably add the QI10 Tour is really good. I mean, the Triple Diamond, the Callaway Paradigm AI Smoke Triple Diamond is pretty darn good as well. I just don't hit it as consistently as I did the previous version. The standard Paradigm Triple Diamond I hit really well. The AI Smoke version, I just haven't found the same level of kind of forgiveness and trust with it. So the title is the TaylorMade is probably taking over the top spot there. The other thing too is I've lost a little magic with the PXG, the Black Ops 3 wood that I hit insanely well when I was out there for the media day. I've had some really good days. I've had some tough days. So that one there is pretty close, but I think I'd still opt if I had to go play, for a few bucks with somebody. I'd probably take the QI10, the standard model out there. I think it's just a little better fit for me, a little better option. I do wish on that the face was just a hair more open. It is slightly closed. At least the one I have is just slightly shut. And with those bonded hosels, I feel like it's a little bit hit or miss. But I would say first place for that, is going to be the QI10. And then that PXG Black Ops is probably second place right after it. Now 7-wood, as much as I thought the AI Smoke Triple Diamond was going to take over, I think the Ping holds its course. I think the Ping G430 Max hangs on. I think it's staying in the bag. I really thought I was going to beat it. I loved the ball speed of the Triple Diamond. It's really, really good. If I was a slightly better ball striker, I think it makes the bag. I think it's just the forgiveness of the Max, of the G430 Max, just wins out. It's just so easy to hit. That shallow face off the deck is super easy to get a ball up in the air and elevated. It flies just a little bit higher. And while, yes, I may lose a touch of distance to it, I think it honestly is the better fit for me at the moment. Now, between the two fairway woods, 3 and 7, I do have GTs coming, so we'll see how those go. I mean, on the range, they worked really well. Again, we'll see how they work on the course when you only have one shot. I don't know, I don't know if it's going to carry over and be the same success. We'll see. Like with TSR, when I had TSR2, it was the same thing. I thought for sure it was making the bag. It was going to knock everything out. And then when we got on the course, I didn't quite see the same amount of success or consistency. And then I reshafted it, and it got a little better, but it ended up just not beating out any of the other 3-woods. So we'll see what the GT series does. But right now, QI10 and the standard model with probably, I'm sorry, we're on the other one. The G430 Max is in the starting spot. The 7-wood in the 7-wood spot, and then the triple diamond is probably second to it, but I don't know if it can actually beat it out. I just don't know if it's forgiving enough to do that. So in the 4-iron of stuff I've been hitting, the ping. It was funny. I put a little "What's in the bag" choice on my Instagram. If you want to follow me on Instagram, it's @ClubJunkiePod. But I put a little thing up there of which bag would you like to play, and I posted both bags I brought down here. And somebody asked, is the ping I crossover, in the doghouse? And I wouldn't say it's in the doghouse at the moment, but I will say that the Mizuno Pro Fly High, the 4-iron, is kind of, I'm meshing really well with it right now. I'm hitting it really well. It goes high. It's got a lot of ball speed. It feels and sounds really good. Pretty much a big improvement over last year's. I think it's a little bit more compact, at least a little shorter heel to toe, a little easier to hit off the deck. Everything about it I think is just really solid. Every time I kind of want to reshaft it, if I have a shot or two that doesn't go right, it comes back and plays really well. It just has the stock Aerotech, I think it's called an HLS 880 in there, so it's like an 85-gram shaft. But it has worked really well, and I really like it. It is kind of taken over from the Ping Eye crossover. I'm not saying the Eye crossover is gone for good or anything like that, but I think I think I put it in. I don't know if I put it in the flat setting or what, but I think I need to move it back to standard. I've been kind of on a little cold streak with it, and the Mizuno has stepped in, and I've hit that really well. So right now, the Mizuno Pro Fly High is going to be the 4-iron, and the Ping is still there. It's just kind of out at the moment in terms of sitting on the bench, waiting to see. And but we'll see as well, because I mean, there's also I've hit the Cobra, the King utility, and I really like that. It's not quite as long as the Ping or the Mizuno, but it looks really good and it's easy to hit. So we'll see what happens. But I think the Mizuno Pro Fly High at the moment is taking over in the 4-iron spot, and there really hasn't been a 4-iron that's challenged it. I mean, the Ping T2 or the Ping, the Titleist T200 came close. I really hit that really well and really liked it. But the more I keep kind of hitting everything, I think the Mizuno stays intact there. It's just a really solid 4-iron that I really like hitting. Irons we just already talked about between the PXGs and the Dells. We'll see if anything can knock off the T150. And then wedges, I went and got fit for SM10s. Really like them. I hit them really well. And the 50-56 SM10s. The 50, the gap wedge is going to be the 50.12 F grind. So the higher bounce version. Full sole. Really like it. I've had that in SM8s. I had it in SM9. It's just I like that high bounce version. It's easy to hit. The softer condition up here doesn't dig. You can still, I like playing it around the green. If I come up like just short, you can kind of thump that sole into the ground, hit a nice little easy chip shot without worrying about the club digging. And they feel and sound pretty good. They spin well. So, I mean, everything about them, they just perform really well. That is like just a raw one as well, so it's starting to rust, which I love. The 56 degree, again, SM10, Vokey SM10. It was a pretty easy choice, and it's performed really well out on the course. That is a 56.14 F grind again. I know the F grinds are for me, but I like that. Again, I like the full sole. While, yes, I can't open it up on a super tight line, hit like a high lofted flop shot. That isn't a shot I usually hit with a 56 anyway. It just, is something that's not something I do. So playing a little bit more square to even just slightly open, it still makes it really versatile. I can still hit those shots. It's not a big deal. Again, feel and sound is really good. They spin really well. It's a great bunker club. I'm a guy who plays a 56 out of the bunker, so out of the bunker it plays really well. It's got a good amount of float, no matter if it's kind of firmer sand or softer sand. And much like the 50, those little kind of shots around the green, you can kind of throw that thing into the turf, and it just kind of bounces through and hits the ball. So really, really solid there. Those are both shafted up Nippon Modus Tour 105s. I'm thinking I might switch those out, and I have a set of Project X wedge shafts that I might go with there, just to see if that, one, I want to try them, and two, I think maybe going just a touch heavier there could be pretty solid. And then the 60, so I had a Vokey SM1060 that I liked. I hit it really well in the fitting. I get it back home, and it was the 60.10S grind. I get it back home, and I just don't hit it that well. I'm really inconsistent with it. So that is out at the moment, and right now we're going with the Ping S159, the 60.08B grind. Now, I know it's completely opposite from like usually I'm high bounce, but this is a low bounce, kind of wide sole. There's not a ton of bounce to it, but the sole is wide. So when you bring it into the turf, while it does kind of not, it doesn't get through quite as fast as like the F grinds. It doesn't dig crazy bad. It's not super deep when it digs, but it's still versatile enough where even though it's got that wide sole, I can open it up a little bit and hit a little higher lofted shot. I probably wouldn't be able to do it down in like the desert conditions where it's firm and fast, but up here where it's a little bit softer, have no problem doing that, being able to hit those shots. So I really like the S159. It actually feels really good. I didn't love the feel when I first got it, when I hit range balls with it. But after you got away from those rock hard range balls, one-piece range balls, you definitely have a much softer feel to it with a standard traditional ball, like a Pro V1X, Pro V1, something like that. Out of the rough, it plays really well. I do play it more square than open anyway, but overall, just a really versatile wedge that I've liked. The spin is really solid. It's very predictable. I would say, yeah, it spins just as much as a Vokey or anything else, and honestly, it's been a really good wedge. And then putter, I don't think I changed from this year. I think this year I found that that TaylorMade Spider X Proto, the milled face version, the one with the plumber's neck and the milled face that Scotty Scheffler tried right when he put the Scotty Cameron blade away. They built him this putter, and he putted. I don't even know if it made it for a whole tournament, and then he was out of it. But they made some, and they made it kind of a handful of these Protos and sold them. But it's got a little forward CG, which is nice because it kind of swings like a blade through the stroke, but it's still got some stability that you'd expect from a Spider. And then the top line of it, of course, has the True Path alignment with a single sight line. Super easy to line up, super consistent, but I really like it. It's got a good soft feel to it. And maybe not the softest milled face putter, but it's got a good feel to it. And then that has an LA Golf P Series 135 shaft in it, and that's been really solid. I like the stiffness of it. The stiffness of that shaft kind of like makes you feel the head is exactly where it is. And if if your hands bring it back to squared impact, it's going to be squared impact. There's no lag, there's no movement, there's nothing like that. And I think it does soften up the putter just a little bit. It reduces a little bit of that vibration that gets to the hands. So what's in the bag wise, that's kind of where I'm at the moment. And we'll see. So at the moment, like if I had to go play big time, money game, whatever, I'd probably go, at the moment, Callaway Paradigm AI Smoke Max Triple Diamond, 10.5 head with a Mitsubishi Diamante whiteboard, 63X. And then for 3-wood, I'd probably go TaylorMade QI10, the standard model, 15 degrees, UST Link M40X Blue TSPX. The 75 gram X right now is what I've gotten there, and hit that well. 7-wood is going to be the Ping G430 Max, and that is going to be set 1 degree strong because it's a 21 degree head. I set it to 20, just try to get a little more distance out of it. And then I believe I also set it flat to take some of that left away. And that is shafted over the Fujikura Ventus TR Blue 8 stiff, which, yes, but I love that shaft in the 7-wood. It works really well. 4-iron Mizuno Pro Fly High 4-iron with the Aerotech Tech HLS 880 in stiff. And I know that's just a stock thing, but as I told you before, every time I want to go reshaft that thing or have a bad day with it, it redeems itself. So I'm not going to reshaft it anytime really. I mean, at the moment, I'm just going to leave it the way it is. And then for irons, right now, if I had to pick, I'm going to go the PXG 0317Ts. They're just, as I said, a great combination of being that kind of cheater club, small, compact, forgiving, long, and those are shafted up with the LA Golf A Series 105 low stiff. And even though they're low, for me they fly more mid. They're definitely not as low flying as I thought they might be. I was a little worried about it, but definitely not. And then wedges, going to go the gap wedge is a Titleist Vokey SM10, 50.12F. And then the 56 is going to be a Vokey SM10 56.14F. and then 60 degree is going to be the Ping S159, 60 degree 08B grind. And that's actually a shaft that was just the standard. It's made by Nippon. It's called the ZZ115, and it's just the wedge shaft that came in it. But I do actually like. I know it's probably people are gonna knock me for it. I kind of like the slightly longer grip. The grip on it is like an inch longer, and it has less taper. So when you choke down on it, it doesn't. You're not getting close to the shaft. The grip doesn't feel small. It just plays like a regular grip. So it's kind of nice. I actually like that. And then for putter, it's going to be the TaylorMade Spider X Proto milled face with the LA Golf P Series 135, and that's got a Super Stroke GT or Pistol 1.0 on it. So that is probably my what's in the bag. And then playing Titleist Pro V1X. It just flies a little higher. It's just a good ball for my game. So that would be my kind of what's in the bag right now. I know some things are going to change when the GT stuff shows up and some other things. So, but that's kind of where we're at the moment with kind of what's in the bag. So I know that's kind of a long-winded just little update, but that's just how it is. Now we're going to talk a little bit about something review-wise, but before we do, just want to let you know, Olakai makes some golf shoes, and they've got a brand new one called the Machina. And the Machina is kind of the next generation shoe for Olakai Golf. It's got a brand new outsole that's plated for maximum traction, and then it also has some spikes that are inspired by the waves of Hawaii for great traction. They're really kind of a sportier looking shoe, really cool looking. They're fully waterproof, so your feet stay dry no matter if you're playing in the rain, early morning dew, any of that. No matter the condition, your feet are going to stay dry. And they're tested on some of the best courses in Hawaii, so they're going to work. They're going to have good traction. You're going to be dry. They're going to be comfortable. And on the bottom, it basically on each shoe it says "Good Walk," and it's on the outsole of each one. And it kind of goes back to the famous quote of "Golf is a good walk spoiled." So, Olakai believes in walking. So do we. So these shoes are designed to keep you comfortable well beyond 18 holes. But go to olakai.com, OLUKAI. Check out the new Machina. It is a great looking shoe. Three different colors, really cool sole design. Check them out today. So today we're going to talk about a shaft, and I was actually out hitting this thing for the past couple weeks, and it's probably a shaft company you've never heard of, but it is a new shaft out there. It's been on the Champions Tour a little bit. I don't think they've had them on the PGA Tour yet, but I've heard a little bit going on. But it is the Newton Motion. So Newton is the company name. And Motion is the driver shaft series that they are doing here, and it's kind of an interesting shaft. It's got that old school kind of chameleon paint to it, where it goes from purple to green and kind of back and forth. It's an interesting little look. It kind of reminds me of those old Mustangs and all that. But an interesting thing. They're kind of a newer brand out there. They've got driver shafts right now and fairway shafts. So they've got a couple of different models depending on what you're going to use them for. And then when it comes to fairways, they've got, or when it comes to bull shafts, they kind of do things just a little bit differently. So these things are built around what they call their Symmetry 360 technology, which is basically making a shaft that is perfectly round, doesn't have a spine. And that's an interesting kind of concept because they'll say like, hey, all driver shafts are not equal. Some do have a spine, and theirs don't. I've also heard from other, I've talked to a lot of people in the shaft industry from a lot of different, very well-known, well-known brands, and they claim they don't have a spine either. They just don't talk about it. So very interesting, but that's kind of one of their things here is having having a shaft that does not have a spine. These things are actually hand rolled here in the USA. They're actually hand rolled in Missouri. Now. The hand roll thing's kind of interesting because, again, this is kind of a term that has been used. Now, it sounds to me from a lot of shaft manufacturers, a majority of them, shafts are hand rolled. They're just not hand rolled here in the U.S. Some are done overseas, but everything for the most part is hand rolled. They're not done by a machine. They are touched by human hands. So these are hand rolled in Missouri, which I do have to think it probably gives them a little leg up in terms of quality control because visiting Missouri to check quality and check the manufacturing, all that has got to be pretty darn easy. where flying over, overseas somewhere, wherever your shafts are made, probably takes a little bit more of a trip. And if there is something going wrong, you can probably get to Missouri pretty quickly to check it out and see what's going wrong. But they do sell these as uncut, or as they call ready to play shafts. So ready to play would be they are tipped, gripped for your driver and ready to go. So you would basically tell them what flex you needed and what driver you're going to put it into, and they will build it up with that adapter and that and a grip on it and all that. So if you play a Callaway, they'll put a Callaway adapter on it, Titleist, whatever. These here, I actually put on. They came with a Titleist adapter because I originally was going to put in a Titleist, and then I switched it over to a TaylorMade one, because with All Fit, TaylorMade is the one brand that you don't have to replace the screw in. So I put the TaylorMade tip on and been playing in the QI10. Now flex-wise, they do things just a little bit differently. They don't go, stiff, regular, light flex, whatever. They go by a dot system. So if you go by their system there, they have a swing speed. So a 1 dot would be 75 miles an hour and under. And then they go all the way up to a 6 dot, which the 6 dot is for 115 miles an hour and over. So the 115 would be kind of like a Tour X, I would say. And then the 5 dot would be an extra stiff, and then 95 to 105 for the 4 dot, which is maybe a stiff. And then regular light and kind of ultra light would be kind of my theory on it. But they go by the dot system, so it's kind of easy to kind of self-diagnose, self-fit yourself. And they go by swing speed and kind of driver carry distance. And then kind of like a lot of shafts that do this kind of system, the weight kind of goes up as well. So they don't make like a 60 gram 4 dot, a 60 gram 5 dot, a 60 gram whatever. Like they're all slightly different. And it starts at a weight with the 1 dot at 45 grams and goes up to 70 grams for the 6 dot. So a little different setup. You don't get your option of weight and flex. The stiffer you go, the heavier it is. And that's just kind of the way they do it right now. There is no option to just say, I want an extra stiff, 5 dot, but I want it in the 70 gram. Like it doesn't work that way. You got to go 6 dots. So, but interesting shaft. It does, when you get it, feel a little bit softer to flex. And when you first get it and give it the old bend test or whatever, it definitely feels just a little bit softer than other shafts that are in kind of a similar weight range. This being a 5 dot. I've got a 5 and a 4 dot. This is being the 5 dot, comes in at 65 grams and 4 degrees of torque, which is a little bit higher than a lot of shafts in this kind of extra stiff range. But it definitely has a little softer feel to it than, say, a whiteboard or a Link, something like that. They definitely have a little more flexibility to them when you hold them, when you kind of put them in your hand, when you put the head on and give the waggle test, all that. But that's kind of not something that's that big of a deal anymore. You look at like Autoflex and Metaflex and Freeflex and a lot of brands out there, the BGT Brava. There's a lot of these shafts kind of coming in where you're getting a little lighter flex or a little softer flex to them while still offering consistency. And it's a lot of it's just trying to increase ball speed. Pent up energy, release it at the right time, hit longer drives, added ball speed. So that's what a lot of these brands are trying to do. And these guys have the same thing. They have, as they call it, an elongated bend profile, which I've kind of looked at a lot of their videos and stuff. It really doesn't, say, hey, it's a stiffer handle, softer mid or whatever. It just kind of says that the profile is basically built on a little longer length. I mean, they ship it as a 45 and 3/4 inch kind of playing length. So it's kind of that length. But it just says basically that it's a little longer and kind of flexes. So I don't know, if it's supposed to be high launch or mid launch or whatever. They don't really get into that. They don't tell you that on here. They just kind of give you the options and say that it's definitely straighter and longer. And of course, if you make something 45 and 3/4 inches long, it's definitely going to be a little longer, and it probably is going to have a little more kick and impact. So. But that part, in terms of the specs, all that, you can go to newtonshafts.com and check those all out. But it's pretty good. It's not horribly expensive. It's $250, and that's $250 with an adapter on it, so an adapter and grip, which isn't bad at all. I think, or if you even get it raw, you can order these raw uncut and kind of build it to your own spec, and they're $250. So not crazy expensive. The fairways are $225, so a little bit less. But these things uncut, yeah, come in at $250, which is definitely about $100, if not, about $100 cheaper than a lot of the brand new, big name shafts out there. So anyway, got this thing built up. I left it long, so this plays 45 3/4 length. Which when I first grabbed it, I was like, "Ooh, it felt long." I've been playing stuff 45 inches, maybe 45 1/4, but this thing definitely felt long. The chameleon paint is cool. It's not distracting because when you set it down, it really just changes one color. It's either green or purple. Every time I kind of set it down, I feel like it's purple in the sunlight I'm at. But it's just a straight color. There's nothing too crazy on it. Like, the only graphics are below, and they're not too wild or anything like that. They're pretty subtle. But the top end is just a single color, so pretty easy on the eyes. I didn't find it to be distracting at all, which is pretty nice. But put this thing in the QI10 head, and I've played a couple rounds with it now, and I do have to say it definitely has a good smooth feel to it. It is easy to feel load. It is of that little slightly flex. Like if you didn't know any better and you just hand it to somebody, they would probably think it's a flex less than what's designated on it. But it kind of comes out, has a smooth feel to load, smooth feel unloading. It's got a nice kick and impact. It really does. I mean, it feels like it really is trying to get that ball speed up and kind of, as your hands slow down, kind of fire forward at the right time. And then, shots that are not hit well, miss hits, honestly, they actually go pretty good. They get struck pretty well. They stay on line. The last shot that I hit with it over in Bella Vista on, what was it? 2 days ago. It was what's today? Tuesday, or was today Thursday? So Tuesday. Gosh, I can't remember. So Tuesday we were playing, and the last shot I hit with it, I kind of hit it off the toe. Had a nice kind of gentle draw middle of the fairway, and it ended up really well. But distance-wise, I think it's actually kind of up there with everything else. It's definitely long. It definitely has that smooth feel of kind of loading and then unloading throughout the swing. As you get it to the top and you start that transition, you can definitely feel a lot of the flex happen kind of in the middle of the shaft. I would say not up near the grip, but a little higher up than true mid is where the shaft really feels like it kind of bends. And then, yeah, as you get down to the bottom, it really does kind of kick at impact. Now, like I said, stability on miss hits is pretty good. I do say the one knock I'm going to give it is it kind of is dead in a little way of when you do miss it and you hit it off the heel, the toe, whatever. Audibly, that's the only way you're going to know. It almost reduces a little too much vibration, and to your hands, you're not going to feel as much of that. If you hit it off the heel, low heel for me has been kind of a miss a little bit lately, and those are pretty harsh shots. They're close to the shaft. They generate a lot of vibration, and I haven't, like when I hit this, I just noticed that I didn't feel anything different. Like it just kind of hit, and I didn't feel that same feeling in the hands. I could hear it, but I know I didn't kind of feel anything in the hands there. And it just reduces a lot of vibration when it comes to miss hits. So if you're a real feel player in that aspect of like you like to know kind of where your miss, and that helps you kind of with the next shot to the hands, it might reduce a little bit too much vibration. But overall, I think consistency was pretty good. It didn't take away, like just take away the right side or just take away the left side. I was kind of able to miss it kind of, on both sides. It wasn't crazy, stout where you get into some of these shafts and they're really stiff. Whatever you take away, kind of the left side, everything can go straight to slightly right. This definitely had some draw to it. I was able to turn it over, square it up really easy. If you're a player who hits, big high draws, this isn't going to reduce any of that. It's still going to allow you to hit that draw, and it's not so stiff where it's going to promote a straighter or slightly more fade bias ball flight. But it is consistent, and when you put a good swing on it, it goes straight. Distance-wise, it seemed to be pretty long. Even on the miss hits, I hit it there. Now, I didn't hit it on a launch mount or next to anything, but on the course, it seemed to be in the same spots I was in. When I hit good drives, I was in those same spots. So at minimum, it is keeping up with all the big name stuff that I hit out here. There wasn't anything where I hit one and said, wow, a club less or anything like that. If like hole 11, you get on top of the hill, I got it on top of the hill. You go out to some of these holes like 15, and kind of where you can get it to, it's a kind of a weird dogleg right. If you get it to the far end, almost run out of fairway, that's a great shot, if you play it down the tree line. And, I was in kind of similar situations for everything. So distance-wise, I think it's, going to produce kind of as long ball flight. Now, it does hit it a little higher. I would consider this thing kind of like a Ventus TR Red kind of ball flight, mid-high. You know, doesn't it's definitely, I wouldn't say it's, you know, high spin, but it offers a little sharper apex. The launch, it gets up just a little faster, and kind of has like just a little sharper peak as it falls down. Not quite as boring and flat as, you know, a little bit lower spinning shafts, but it does still perform. I think for the player who, you know, if you don't need crazy low launch and crazy low spin, this could be a really good option. And they do have a 30-day money back guarantee. So I think if it doesn't perform the way you want, I think there is some things where you can kind of, you know, talk to them and maybe do something about that. But they do kind of launch. I would consider it mid-high, and I would say these are probably closer to like a mid-high, mid-spin shaft. For me, I would say similar ball flight to, like I said, a TR Red. For me, the Mitsubishi 1K Pro Blue, which for me launches a little bit higher. But I think a Regime 2.0 from VA Composites, all those kind of like mid-high launchers, I think this plays in the same realm. But it definitely has a softer feel and a little bit more lively feel than those shafts. So, but overall, performed pretty well. Like I said, it's got a good smooth feel to it. There's nothing harsh. If anything, it reduces a little too much vibration. But for something, if you're looking to increase ball speed, I think this definitely has a chance to do that. And, you know, hopefully one of these days, I didn't bring a launch monitor with me, but hopefully I'll be able to kind of hit this thing on a launch monitor and see where things go. But overall, I think it's a good feeling shaft. I think for the money, you know, it's definitely less than some of the other stuff out there. And consistency-wise, you know, and accuracy-wise, I think it performs pretty darn solid. So the Newton, you know, motion shaft, again, easy to kind of diagnose yourself in terms of fitting and all that. And then also, you know, can be built ready to play. You just basically pull it out of the box and toss it in your driver. So mine, they put just a lambkin. I think this is the lambkin Crossline. Is it the Ace? No, just the Crossline 360 on there as the grip. And then, as I said, I put a TaylorMade adapter on it. But overall, it performed really well. So a solid shaft. I think it works really well. And I think they did a nice job. I think, you know, creating ball speed, the length, and all that definitely gives it that opportunity. So the length didn't bother me so much playing. I mean, it definitely, the first couple swings, it felt a little bit long. But after a few swings, you kind of get used to it. And, you know, the timing portion of it just kind of comes. So I think you give it, if you were to get one of these, you know, give it a range session and a round, and you'll probably have it a little bit more dialed in terms of the feel and all that. Because the first couple shots, as with anything with me, I mean, I usually hit really well because I'm a little bit slower and I'm kind of deliberate and all that. I wish I could bottle that swing up. But overall, the Newton motion is pretty solid. If you go to newtonshafts.com, you can kind of see all the information and all that on the Newton motion. But overall, not a bad shaft. I think it's a pretty solid option for somebody looking to increase some ball speed, maybe increase a little launch, add some height to their ball. So that is the Newton Motion Golf Shaft. I haven't hit the fairway. I won't hit the driver. So right now, that is the only one I've hit so far. But pretty solid. So that's all I've got. I'm going to go back to kind of spending the week. I've got a vacation here, so I'm going to go back to that, hanging out. And hopefully you guys have a great 4th. Have a good weekend. Stay safe out there. Whether you're doing fireworks, driving, boating, whatever, please stay safe out there. And hopefully you're playing some golf. And we'll jump back into it next week. And have a good 4th. Have a good Independence Day. And before we go, just remember the Titleist Pro V1 and Pro V1X and Pro V1X left dash. Go to Titleist.com. Check out, see which ball is right for you. And please follow me on Instagram at ClubJunkiePod. If you're watching this on YouTube, like, subscribe, all that. I know it's stupid to say, but please do. And then wherever you listen to podcasts, please like it, 5-star it, whatever, subscribe. Really appreciate it. Hope you have a good week. We'll talk next week.